Thank you to our 4 sponsors for supporting our podcast: Johnny Russell's Art Caterers and Milltown Pies, Alexander Grace Law, Jez and Lisa's Spoonful of Sweets, and SPE Furnishings. Links to their websites are available in the show notes and on our website. Don't forget to subscribe to get all the latest episodes as soon as they're released.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Lowerhouse Cricket Club podcast. It's a housecast recorded. It's on Zoom now. We're trying to do some live, but we're still not managing to get it. It's taking forever to get everyone together to try and record it, but I think it's a must that we do it after this weekend. It's the 23rd of May now, so we'll recap what's gone on this weekend and also what's gone on for the season, just to give everyone an insight. I know people enjoy it, walking around the ground. Everyone says, they're great. It's really good fun when they're in the car, so can we do some more? It does get more difficult as we get busier and busier, but we will keep going. I'm sure we'll be well over 100 now. So welcome the co-hosts on, as ever, the very reliable Joe Martin. Hiya, Joe.
Well, Jeremy, how are you?
All right, thank you. Yeah, very well.
It was nice to see you this
You
weekend.
been training tonight?
Yes, I have been.
That's good.
And Timmy has. Sorry.
That's good. Yeah.
No, it's been great, thank you. Lovely weather. Nice to see the usual faces at training.
Yeah. Working hard?
Of course. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good. It's good to see. It is. If, again, any spectators fancy go a look down at the senior nets, they do graph the what's it's off, and it is entertaining to watch if anyone fancies it, and grab yourself a pint. So yeah, we're good to get down this weekend. Joe, I've been away a little bit and a bit of working, so it was fantastic to get down and have a watch and a good catch up with people. It was interesting, really. When I was down there, I stopped over and I had a catch up with Stan the following morning. Are you aware of the what happened Saturday night about him locking something in the groundsman's up?
No, do share.
Well, I was pulling myself together, had a shower, walked around the ground just for the lovely sunrise, and Stan is stood with a couple who I'd not seen before, and there's a bit of turmoil and a bit of quite heated discussions around the groundsman's hut. So I walked faster so I could find out what was happening, and apparently Stan had locked a tomcat in the groundsman's hut overnight on the Saturday night. And this couple were desperately seeking, I think it was called Timmy, desperately seeking Timmy. So when they got Timmy out, Stan starts explaining to me that there's some mice in there, and he's trying to get rid of the mice, but the cats keep coming in, so it's not the first time. And he tells me that he caught a mouse not long ago. He said he didn't really catch it because he's scared to death of them, but it ran in a bag and he picked the bag up. And he wouldn't tell me what he did with the bag afterwards. But it did entertain me. And then only 2 minutes later, I catch a very respected ex-player's wife driving onto the ground. It's now 8:45, if that, and she's putting a load of chairs out to save spaces on ground. A little bit like, is it the Germans that do that on holiday? So that was all before
a current
night.
Player's wife or an ex-player's wife, did you say?
No, a renowned ex-player's wife. Quite interesting because, we would be, if we were in Benidorm, we'd be looking for that broom-handled mouse, wouldn't we? So anyway, thanks very much, Joe. Well done this weekend. See you did a great job. So also welcome one of our co-hosts, Dooch. Hiya, Joe. How's it going? And you missed this weekend. Are you okay?
I'm fine, yeah. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I've passed for my tea. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
The pizza last night. Gelato on Wednesday.
Was it all made?
I didn't mix the flour and eggs for the pasta, no, but I made the sauce.
Right, good lad. Do you know how to make proper pasta?
I've seen it done. How hard can it be? I've never done it though.
Depends if you dry it.
I
It
get
gets harder as it dries.
if you don't.
Yeah, it's I think
Yeah,
it's
it can't be that easy.
one egg to 100 grams of 00 flour.
Okay. I've got a prop as well for tonight.
Right, go on.
Just if I ever
What
need
we-
it, I'm just going to hold that up. Just in case anybody, if anybody's name gets mentioned.
I was just going to say,
appreciate that will be completely lost on the listeners, but
I'm not sure it will be, because when you said I've got a prop tonight, I thought you were going to say Gav's there.
is he joining us later?
Well, the same thing, I suppose. Yeah,
Yeah.
you said so, yeah.
Right, well, let's talk about all the sensible stuff then before he comes on.
Right, okay then. So what we're going to do this evening, listeners, is going to draw the Lowerhouse monthly draw first, and then we're going to get into our special guest, which is extremely special, and chat about cricket. So some people like the draw, some people don't, but it's a necessity. We have to get this there because it raises so much income for the junior sections and for the cricket sections. So many people are in the draw now that it's only fair that we do it live, and none of our integrity is questioned, as Matt Stanley sometimes does about not ever winning. So, Joe Martin, have you got your balls ready?
They're ready, Jez.
Yeah, you're nodding. The listeners can't see nods. What's the name of the balls today, please?
Every week I have to try and think of some Keith Fairclough's.
Keith Fairclough's balls. Right, shake them up and give us a number between 1 and 177, please.
Number 15.
15, which is £100, and this is with 2 draws to draw. So this is the April draw we're drawing first, and number 15, fucking hell, is the top barrister in Burnley, Mark Stewart.
Excellent. Well done, Mr. Stewart.
That is it's a good, interesting win, because Mark is one of only 3 people in the draw that pays cash. He won't give his bank details or pay by anything else, I think, because he struggles from offshore accounts. So I will just take the £100 off him and pay for the next few months. Thanks, Mark. The next number, please, John.
Number 24.
Number 24. What a great lad. He's one of Dooch's best friends, nemesis, complete and utter nuisance, rugrat.
Steve Parrington. All right.
No, Johnny Russell. Johnny Russell is not.
Oh, nice. Excellent.
Steve Parrington's way above you lot.
How much has Johnny won, Jez?
Johnny has won £80.
Good show.
So let's go back to the master sheet. Joe, another number, please.
152.
You're throwing around now. That's good. Trudy Sharp.
Nice,
Popular winner, joined in July.
Excellent.
Yeah, Trudy, yeah, it's a great. Joined in July 20. Her and her husband Neil have been members since then. So it's a popular win, and I've no doubt his son was half a crown, 6pence at weekend, but we'll maybe talk about that later. That's number 152, Trudy Sharp. Another number, please, Joe.
137.
So this is for £50, the final number, and it's David Finch.
Oh, nice.
That's Finch's brother, who's been in it for donkey's years. He's a very contributor, never fails to pay, unlike his brother. So we'll move on now to the May draw, please. So you put those balls back in that have been drawn out, so we can all start again. And again, it's £100 this time, please, Joe.
Yep.
And what are these balls called? Because obviously we need to use different ones.
Yeah, the Dave Waddington?
Dave Waddington's balls. £100 first number, please.
86.
86 is Maureen Scaife.
Oh,
Well
super.
done, Maureen. Maureen's been in
Wonderful.
the draw, I think, right from the outset. So that's £100 going to Maureen Scaife. It's comical, really, Maureen. She always gives me loads of grief every time she sees me saying that she never wins, but seems to come out every now and again. So well done, Maureen. That's fantastic. So £80, the next one, please, Joe.
121.
121. Well, this lad is a bit of a legend in his own underpants. He's just finished. He's just retired from playing. He was down at one Saturday. Feel like it.
Aggers. Oh, fantastic. Wonderful.
What number was it again?
121.
121. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, Haggard. Sorry, I thought we were looking for 181.
Happens a lot on the national
But it
lottery.
were 80 quid, I think. It was because it was 80 quid. I got a bit confused. So £70, please. 2 more to go. Good luck, eyes down looking.
131. 131.
Number 131. This is going to go down well. Graham Martin.
Oh, fantastic. Here we go. One for the
Captain
fans there.
to Alex.
Well,
Jeremy's
we lost
gone.
Jez.
Jeremy's gone. Mid-draw. Does that
We'll
mean a
have to draw that
redraw?
We'll have to draw that number again.
Redraw.
Great. One more to go. £50, please, Joe.
Oh, it's another high one, Jez. 141. 141.
4-1. Oh, this is a good, pleasant winner. I like this. He's a lovely lad. He's left us this year to go and play at Rottenstall, but Dean Barlow,
Redraw.
£50. Well, okay, then, yeah. Draw another
He's
one,
dead to
please.
us.
No, we're only...
So the last three numbers that you just drawn there, Joe,
Okay,
were
there, isn't it?
121, 131, and 141.
Incredible, isn't it?
I don't know.
What's the chances of that?
3 out of 177.
No way.
Correct. So that's the draws concluded. The winners will be notified and the money sent out to them probably in about 5 or 6 weeks. So I'm getting my act together, but I'll do it as quickly as possible, and so you can all get your deserved winnings. Thanks very much, everyone, for being in the draw, and anyone else who'd like to come in, please just contact myself or any of the committee members or people down at the club and join. £5 a month, standing order preferably. We pay out about $4,500 a year in prizes, and it's extremely successful. So enough of that. I can see Joe and Joe are bored to death, and our guest is desperate to get in to have a chat with us. So this week's guest, it's going to be difficult to introduce him. I think Joe Martin might have got some sort of a jingle together for it. You want to have a go, Joe, or not?
I can't just come up with one on the spot.
No?
I can try and put something together on the keyboard later, but
Okay, then try, and then you could just
I can cut it in.
maybe mix it in. So anyway, Saturday, Lowerhouse versus Darwen at the Brooks Foundation ground, and this lad performed something that, you know, it's quite unique. It was a great performance, so good to see. I'll introduce Jack Simm. Hiya, Simmy. How you doing?
Hi, Jez. Not bad, thank you. Hello, everyone.
Good lad.
Simmy?
Good lad. Good lad. Thanks very much for coming on, Jack. It's really good that we can chat through what happened at weekend, because people are still talking about the actual game and how it went, and how people are talking about one of the most memorial games they've seen, memorable games they've seen for a long, long time. How are you after? We'll not talk about your innings. Have you come down? Has the last day or two been a bit different, or how are you feeling?
I've a lot of muscles in my body were sore that I didn't think were possible to be sore, and I'm only 21. But
Don't.
what? Yeah, it's good. I've had a lot of messages off a lot of people, which is really good. But no, nothing majorly different.
Oh, good. You're right. At 21, you shouldn't be, aching and too many pains at your sort of age. But good on you, just the mental strength that you showed. So let's start. I'd like Joe Martin to assist me with how this went. Big game, in the top in the top three in the league before the game. Darwen are a great side. Have performed extremely well over a number of years. Top amateurs, a good pro. What was the approach like to the game, Joe Martin? What was the outlook? What were you talking about on the build up to it?
I'd say that the training was no different to usual, which was good. I think really we just Darwen are a really good team, and we wanted to be positive with how we played. So I think in previous fixtures against Darwen, we've often maybe had a good start and then got bogged down a little bit. So yeah. I think this time what we wanted to try and do was let's be positive with our all-round game, but in particular with our batting, and make sure that we stayed in the game for as long as we could. Yeah,
I think it's interesting. Dooch, you watched quite a lot of it on the stream. I watched the first innings on the stream. They started very well. I think it's fair to say that the pitch, and I had a look at it afterwards, for all the rain that we have had, and I know it's been dry for the last 10 days, fortnight or so, but it did look a great pitch in as much as there was some carry, a little bit of grass on it so it didn't break up. And I think that was, testament to how they batted early on. Is that fair to say? I know Joey Oak bowled well and the pro bowled well, but I think it's fair to say, it was a true pitch. Would you agree with that, Joe? You were stood behind the stumps.
Definitely. It was a very good pitch. It was a good pitch. There was nothing in it that you thought was there was no kind of deception in it or anything that was like taking chunks out. It was pretty hard and as you say, it had good carry and it was good. Yeah, a good pitch. Well done, Stan and Waddle and Rog for preparing that.
Here. Because if they take too much grass off, historically going back years, it does break up and
it becomes really dusty and turns a lot.
Yeah,
and it becomes very, very, very hard to bat at times.
Yeah, so leaving that grass on there, it might not be straw coloured as the cricket purists say, but it did look a good track. So get a wicket early on, but then. They get to almost 150 for the next wicket. Was the concerns going on there, Joe? Because they did score at a decent rate as well.
Yeah, I think our fielding didn't help. We collectively dropped a few catches as a team.
Yeah.
So I think that was one thing. And I think when we got the second wicket, Scott Friend, I think our job was to try and contain a little bit better. And I think when a team is, only one down at the halfway stage or even with less than 20 overs left, they can accelerate and they've got wickets in the tent to have a hit. So I think you are always a little bit concerned, but I think we came back and bowled really well. So that was good to see. It's
a good assessment, Joe, in the way the game turned, and there was some drop catches that it is a collective, a team effort. The people work extremely hard to not do that. Obviously, was there a catalyst that changed all of a sudden? Because generally, without being too disrespectful to you guys in the first team, if things are going badly, we do tend to sometimes hide a little bit or. Not battle it out like we really should do. But in this instance, it just turned completely. They looked like getting 320 for 3. And then, you've completely bowled them out and got the extra bonus point. Was there something that changed that?
No, I don't think so. I just think that we bowled and fielded pretty well in the last 20 overs. And we did put them under quite a bit of pressure in the circle. So I don't think that they could rotate as well as they wanted. Hawkey got their pro out, which was a really big wicket, so that was good. And then from there, I think Amma got 100 and battered well. But I think that we actually then started to contain them really well. We bowled at the stumps. The pro bowled the pro bowl really well again. And I don't know the scores exactly, but if they were 150 for 1, maybe 170 for 2, something like that, to essentially get them 50, 60 for 8 in the last 15 overs was all credit to the bowlers and the fielders. So it was a
the fielding came good. Yeah, the fielding came good, didn't it, after the early drop catches?
Yeah, certainly. Charlie caught a couple of really good catches in the deep. Toxie as well. Took a good catch too. And we came to in the end. It wasn't an easy. Never easy when you drop catches. I drop one that I would expect to take. And in those kind of situations, you want to make sure that doesn't kind of spread to the rest of the team. And thankfully,
who else dropped catches, Joe? Just
pardon?
For people who didn't see any reaction, who else dropped catches? Names, come on.
I don't think it's fair. I'll take responsibility.
Why is it not fair?
I think it's
people were there; they'd have seen it with their own eyes. So fill in the blanks for people who were there.
Yeah, watch the stream.
Right, okay.
I think I think the lad who got 100, getting 100 is fantastic, a real achievement in the league. But he was dropped 4 or 5 times, and in some cases they weren't particularly hard catches. Mine certainly wasn't. It was just a poor piece of wicket keeping. So it's just one of those things. Nobody means to drop them, but it was. And I think when you get in that kind of run of catches, it's very, very easy to just kind of meander through and try and finish the innings and not really worry about anything else and just see how many they get and kind of lie down. But it was brilliant to see that we came back, took the catches that were really important to take the 2 wickets in the end, and meant that we were still in the game at half-time. A fantastic political answer.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I mean, you're right, 100% right what you say. When it's easy for any team to, to go into a show when there's some drop catches, you don't want the ball coming, but you didn't, and a great effort to get it to 220, and then going out to bat, you're clearly confident. I feel that it's a score that you can get. It's there's a couple of players out. Young Sharp has been obviously Simmy's been drafted in. But that is the strength of our squad, that it's still a top side there that you can see. So, Henry is out first. What happened there? I mean, I didn't actually see it. I'm not seeing it on the stream. We were caught behind. Is that?
Yeah, it was caught behind. I'm never one to criticise Jez. I don't think I can, but I don't think he hit him. So I think that was a little bit frustrating. But, people umpires give what they see, don't they? And if he thought it was out, then exactly. That's fair. Then that's fair enough. Yeah. Just one of those things, and you deal with it, move on.
Yeah, exactly. You just move on. So then, when we've lost Ben and Charlie's batting at 3, what was the rationale behind that, Joe? Do you know, or can you tell us? Or
yeah, so we had a few players missing in the team. That's not trying to discredit Charlie at all there, but his role is slightly different than when he used to bat at 4 and 5 in the first team. And I think that really Charlie is still one of the really good batters, one of the best batters in the team. Free flowing, fantastic to watch, and he could still bat at 3 if he wanted to throughout the season. And the thing about Charlie is he doesn't mind where he bats, and when he gets the call, if he needs to bat at 7 or if he needs to bat at 3, he always says yes, and always does a really good job. And he's an attacking batter, really experienced, always great to have in the team. So I think it made sense for him to bat at 3 now.
Yeah, and he's so positive, not just in the way he actually plays, in the way he exudes that for other people. So that's good. But unfortunately, then with the pros out after Ben's out, shouldering arms, it'll be for a duck off 2 balls. So Charlie then has to try and maybe settle the ship a little bit. And Simmy's come in at 5. So you're 13 for 3, Simmy. Have you any instructions off the skipper, or is there anything that you can tell us about going through your mind?
So no instructions particularly. Before the first innings, Ben had told me that I'd be batting at 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And he just told me to play my natural game. And then nothing changed going out there, to be honest. Going through my mind was just to hang around as long as possible, to be honest. I didn't really have much of a game plan going into it, not going to lie. It was just to see off the new ball and then take it from there, to be honest. It was just sort of 5 overs at a time, in fact.
Jimmy, did you know anything about the Darwen attack before you went out to bat? Honestly.
I'd seen Jack Davis bowl before because he's played a bit of 2s. Obviously, when I've been a bit of junior cricket when I've been growing up, but anyone else I've never seen before now.
Okay.
And is that something you purposely do, Simmer, or is it maybe something you should look at doing?
What, seeing what the opposition attacks?
Yeah, a bit of research. Yeah, a bit of research. Maybe chat to people. Maybe. Don't get me wrong. This is not a criticism, and it's not. I'm not picking you up on it. But some players will be, researching what they bowl. Is he left? First of all, is he left arm? Is he right arm?
Yeah, I mean, I think as we get more and more.
Is that?
Sorry, Jez, you're on a bit of a delay. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
It's all right.
I think as we get a little bit more professional in our approach, it probably is something we should do. Particularly if you've got a batsman coming into the side who's going to bat at 5 or 6. Maybe you wouldn't expect, somebody coming in who's going to bat 9 or 10 to have much of an idea about the opposition attack. But if we, in future, possibly, if we are going to call a batsman up and the batsman is going to play a prominent role, then maybe we should try and impart some knowledge onto them. Although clearly it didn't do Simmy any harm.
No, and I wonder if it might have done. Like I say, criticism at all. Some do all the research, and others, just want to play, their own game. So it's you join in when I got in a little bit. Certainly from the changing rooms end, you just seem to nibble and just bowl in these little cheeky outswingers and you did struggle a little bit. I'm not. You didn't nick any. I think you weren't getting near them. But what I was really impressed with is the fact that you didn't appear to be phased. And I was with Matt, my brother at the time, and he was saying, no, he said he'll be fine with this. He's not bothered about, if he plays and misses, he'll play the next ball. And then someone, certainly those wide-ish, maybe just over pitch length balls that you're smashing through point. They were a fantastic shot and certainly, brought the game. You realise it's not going to be over at 5 o'clock or 5:15. Was that something you intentionally did, looking for that bad ball and then just smashing it, or is that your game in general?
A bit of both, to be honest. Like you say, with the players and missing stuff, it was a really good pitch of the spot. There's plenty in it for the ballers. It was still doing a lot. Yeah. Both openers, Cameron when he came on, still getting to plenty. They're allowed to bowl good balls. So just one of them. You just got to move on to the next ball. Like you say, although obviously it's a higher level for me. First team cricket, someone's still going to bowl a worse ball or a bad ball, and it's just about weight and putting that away when it comes.
And you did it, you did it so well, Simeon, and that developed as the game progressed. Now I know you want to wrote it off, and then Charlie's got himself out or got out, and he's extremely frustrated. You could see as he walked out, but the ever reliable Paddy Martin's gone in, and we all know what Paddy can do. He can smash it, he can, but he's such an experienced thinking cricketer that he's hung around with you. You're 39 for 4, chasing half decent score against a good bowling attack. And like you said, it's nibbling around a little bit, but the longer you stop, and you've put about 80 on. How did you find batting with Paddy? Was there plenty of communication?
Yeah, really good. With everyone I batted with throughout the innings, Charlie was really good when I went in, and then obviously Paddy came out, and plenty of communication about sort of what the what ballers are trying to do, what we're trying to do, but limited to the fact that, like you say, we're 39 for 4. We're not looking at the scoreboard. All we're planning to do is spend time at the crease and pick off 1s, 2s when we can. So
there's
only so much that we really need to say. We both knew what the plan was, but like you say, plenty of communication, and it was a great help out there. To keep me going.
Good. Paddy's got into that mindset now. Now he's captain of the T20 side, and he's such a level-headed. Apart from when he gets out, but he's such a level-headed character that you can thrive off him. And I've got to say, Simeon, I'm going to do this a couple of times over the next few minutes that we chat about this. I cannot explain enough how well or how good the fact that you were taking the pressure off by getting a boundary. They're invaluable. And I know you're saying you've got to bat time, but you just took the pressure off. Every now and again, it might have been 2 or 3 in an over, or it might have been, 1 after two overs where we didn't score a lot. You just looked to take it to them. Any poor ball, you smashed it. Borden is one of the best bowlers in the league. He's played for a long time. Good left arm. I don't know how much he spins it now, but a good left arm coming from a big height. And there was one instance I watched it were over 2 overs, and you had him. He didn't really know what to bowl you. And I'm not asking you a question here, Simon. It's just really to try and get across to the listeners how valuable that period was. I think he bowled you a couple, and you hit him through backward point twice, and then he bowled him from the park end, and he almost tried to bounce you. You obviously remember it, and you just smashed it down to the scorebox. That took so much pressure, not off Paddy because he can handle it, but the spectators. That was a point for me where I thought, you know what, there's a chance here. Wickets would lose it for us, not overs, but there's a chance here we're going to get close. And we've got the 2 bonus points for bowling. If we can just get up there, get closer and closer, those extra batting bonus points, if it didn't work out, would turn into a good day's cricket for us because we're still in the hunt against one of the top sides. Did you feel that at any stage that the pressure was becoming less, or did you feel that it mounted upon you the better you got?
No, I think it did get less, like you say. I think there was no probably specific point where it changed, but just gradually, like you say, we weren't losing wickets. And like you said, me and Paddy weren't scoring at a great rate, but like you said, the runs were never the issue, even if we needed sort of 80, 90 after the last 10 with 6 wickets in hand, me and Paddy. It was always going to be possible with Blaise, Hawkey, Sharpie, Toxic, like all them down the order. We've got such a long order that the run was never the issue, like I said before. And then as I kept batting, Paddy kept batting, like rode my luck a few times. You could say the Darwen lads were getting a bit frustrated and they were getting quieter and quieter. And then it's just took it from there, really.
Yeah, and that's a good point. It's interesting you didn't think that it changed through that, but the crowd definitely thought that. And you could see, you're in your bubble, so that's understandable. But the crowd could sense they were going quiet. I mean, to be fair to the Darwen lads, there wasn't, any falling out between themselves or having a go at you and Paddy overtly. And I think you're being a little bit too harsh on yourself, saying you rode your luck in that, certainly up to 70 a 75. I don't think, I think you played the ball as you saw it, and you didn't really, play a rash shot. When you got to your 80s, I think there were 2 occasions where it landed in between fielders that were probably extremely frustrating for them. But I was in the dressing room, Joe. I was the feeling. Did you see a change as the game developed with that partnership of 80 odd between Paddy and Simmer?
Yeah, I think it certainly made us. I think we would get closer to the target. The thing for Ben, probably slightly earlier in the chase, was that we've got the bowling points, but we want to make sure that we don't leave with no batting points. So staying in the chase for as long as possible was really important. And I think those 2 partnerships, the one with Charlie and Simmy and the one with Simmy and Paddy, I think settled things down quite nicely, and also meant that they actually took a lot of overs away from their main bowlers too, because I think at maybe 40 for 3 and 70 for 74, I think, or 5, maybe a bit more. I don't know. I think it's probably instinctive to try and knock the game out and just try and bowl the team out. So I think holding the innings together and set the platform, because I know Simmy said they weren't scoring at a great rate, but I'm not sure that's quite true. I think they were still scoring at 3, 4, 5 and over, because with 15 overs to go, 10 overs to go, we were up with the rate.
I 100% agree, Joe. I think Simmy's probably just not seeing that as we saw it, because I think when you got your 50, Simmy, that Stuart Weirden put out, I think you'd scored 10 fours in your your first 50 runs.
Sounds about right. Not gonna lie.
Brilliant.
Slogger. What a slogger.
And then it's probably because you complimented between you and Paddy, but then you've not slowed down, but then you've started working it around a little bit more, because Blaise is in, and Blaise is, we'll come on to that in a minute. Blaise has got a little bit of control, whereas Paddy's supporting you and sticking with you. You can hit the bad ball. You've still got those 5 or 6 wickets in the 10. But when Blaise has come in, it's, we can't afford to lose 2 or 3 quick wickets now at all. So we just need to push it on. And that's when, I'm talking out a 55-year-old fella who, I think he was 55 yesterday. And there are, there's some twos there.
56 yesterday.
He told me 55.
56 yesterday.
He's just trying to blag, isn't he? And he's, he's obviously, trying to put the pressure back on them. Big field, they don't know where to put the fields or anything. So then, right out of the blue, really, I thought Paddy got out. It was against their pro who doesn't bowl a great deal. I personally, I can say this. I watched. I did think there were 2 noises, but that's the way it goes. The umpires can give what they see, and it was a bit of a shock, and I think they were shocked. I don't know what you thought when you were out there, Jack, but I think Darwen were a little bit shocked that they got the breakthrough. Forget I was out, but they got the breakthrough. How did it feel then for you, and the disappointment? And
Yeah, I think, like I say, their pro doesn't bowl much, so I don't know whether they were trying to get a couple of overs in. They're trying to switch back, get Dave Bowden to switch ends, and that. And then, like I say, it was a bit of a shock because it wasn't a great ball. It was just a bit of nothing, and then it got given out. But I don't think it changed a great deal for either side, to be honest. As in, they didn't switch, like they didn't turn a switch after that wicket. They just carried on doing what they were doing, and then Blaise came in, obviously played a brilliant knock, which we'll get onto. And nothing changed from Paddy to Blaise, really.
And I think that's possibly where, and it's not easy, they possibly missed a trick. That was the time to maybe put the extra pressure on. It's no secret Blaise has not scored thousands of runs over the last few years. He scored all them, on the way to being 50, a bit more pressure, a bit more upbeat from them, maybe change it a little bit. But I found it very interesting the way Chris played. He was watching the ball, getting his big front pad outside the line, making sure he could get the pace of the ball. And then it just seemed to click and just seemed to change. And he took a little bit of control, which, I did think was helping you a little bit.
Definitely.
And I found it interesting whether this was a plan, whether it was your plan, Blaise's plan, or it was just what were happening. You seem to think, right now, I've got to get it. And I fully appreciate why you would do this. And it is the way cricket's played. Let's get this done now. We've got Blaise in, we've got 2 or 3 other batters. Let's not get down to wanting 30 off 3 overs. Was that a plan that you'd consciously planned, or was it something that just came into being?
Me and Blaise haven't spoke about that specifically, no. But that was sort of what was going through my mind, especially sort of amateur cricket level. Even though you're chasing 7 over, 8 and over in the last sort of 5 is a difficult task, and then you start losing wickets.
Yeah.
So while we have a large momentum with time left, with wickets in the tent, start to accelerate a little bit. If we do lose a wicket, if either of us is out, it allows the new batter to have a bit of time before they need to start sort of pushing it on a little bit. So I just thought it was the right time to go, especially to the back end, because they've got Rhys Davies back on and at the top end. So I think that was the right time to go.
And it wasn't. It put them under pressure. It was a concern because you weren't hitting it as clean. I think you were trying to hit, the balls previously that you were really playing some fantastic shots with the balls there to be hit. You were being patient. You're waiting for them. Whereas I think you were, not stretching a little bit, but you're thinking, right, I've got to get on with this. And it turns out it was the right tactic, and everyone in the ground supported you for that. Certainly the way Blaise and Hawkey finished it. I was convinced you were going to, that when you got out, I thought that was going to clear that lad at mid-on. And I was convinced you were going to get 100. I was really, really, sure. I just thought, this is fate now, certainly with the couple of balls that landed in between fielders. So you've got out on 91. You've not sulked. You've not dragged your bat and thrown it halfway off the ground. You've walked off with your head held high. What was that feeling like? It's your first league 50. You've not just scraped through to get a 50 in a lose cause or a big winning cause. You contributed there. It's not over. How did it walking off to that massive applause from that big crowd?
Well, yeah, obviously it felt fantastic. Like I said, I was gutted to not get out, and I thought it was clearing the man as well. So that was even worse. But I know it's so cliche, but it honestly from that point it was, let's win the game. Like, we need to win the game. I'd have been even more gutted if it was 91 in a losing cause. We come away with 4, 5, 6 points, whatever. Yeah. So over the moon that Blaise got it over the line.
Yeah, and again, it might sound like it's blowing smoke up your backside, Jack, but it really is. For we will say a lot of people are talking about this, about a non-established first team player. You've always been a squad player there for the last couple of years. But that is the best innings I've seen from a non-established player in the circumstances in how it was played, and it contributed to one of the best games, for a long time. Stan saying it's best 10, what in the best 10 he's ever seen. I'm possibly, you can talk about cup finals and when you win leagues, but it was absolutely outstanding. It was proper buzzing. I'm really pleased and well done. It was really great effort. Joe Martin, how did it feel once Simmy was out? Was there any doubts creeping in then, or were you still? I mean, you've got Daft Joe going in with Blaise, who who's so unpredictable but so talented. How was it feeling in the dressing room?
I'm always very anxious anyway, so I was anxious on Sunday. And so I think that it was always it was going to be close. Certainly going to be close finish. And it was, I guess, you need 22 off 3 overs. Interestingly, Francois was there. He'd come after work, and he was, telling us that we were going to be all right, because he said you don't need boundaries, and he was right. So, but needing 22 off 18, I think you think, oh, this is going to be a tight one, but then to need none off 12, quite remarkable, really. Yeah. Went actually back to reminded me of a game when I first started playing in the first team, where Dooch and Blaise finished off against Burnley. I can't quite remember the scores needed now, but I think they needed something like, maybe something similar, maybe 20, 30 off 3 overs, and probably 20, I guess, off 3 overs, and they finished it with 2 overs to spare, from memory. It was very similar to that. Dooch, can you remember that game?
Yeah.
No, honestly, Sim, it was fantastic.
20. I think we needed 27 off 3, and we did it in 2.
In 2, yeah. Which, it did remind me of that. So yeah, I think, I don't know, when I've watched Blaise over the past since I've been in the first team, he seems to find the right moment to target something, and it seemed that sometimes you don't want to take it. You don't want to take it beyond taking it right to the last over sometimes, and targeting the park end, and some very clean, fantastic clean hitting by him and Hawkeye. Brilliant. The 6 that Hawkeye hit was tremendous. Really fantastic.
Yeah. Do you not think that the Darwen lads cocked that up a little bit? They were going to be bowling the last over to the park end, which in a chair, and when you're defending a score, I mean, I know we didn't need the last over, but if we did, to be facing the park with the last over is always a massive, massive advantage to the batting side.
Oh, yeah. I think so. Yeah.
I think they were focusing on the leg side boundary rather than the straight boundary, because when you're bowling from the car park, the leg side was shorter, and I don't think everyone understands how short the park is when they come.
But it's caught plenty of people out in the past, Jeremy, hasn't it? So I think it is deceptive, that park end, I think.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we play straight. So
yeah, in the V.
In the V.
Not just that though, Joe. I do think when the pitch is like it is, you even a half volley, you can be 12 inches short, shorter than a half volley, or a little bit more if you knew how to play, which Blaise does. And it was clear that he targeted. He knew that.
Oh yeah, I think so. And I think the other thing is that and this is the whole ground as well, I think too, is that you definitely get value for your shots at Lowerhouse. So yeah.
So we're back online. I don't know what happened there. I think Joe Martin forgot to put 5p in the meter. Are you back with us now, Joe?
I am. I don't really know what happened.
No, it froze, and you were looking up into the stars like some celebrity. So we're up to the point where Blaise has clearly realised that anything in our half now, and with so few balls to go, we're going to go for it again. Okay, battered so well. So it was a fantastic win, and celebrations were had afterwards. Did you have a few, Simmy, after the game?
I did actually. Some of the second team lads stayed down. Stanley, Durkin, Kiro, they'd all be back from Darwen quite early on. And we stayed down till about midnight.
Midnight, wow.
Midnight, Joe. Plenty of Guinness and a pizza.
Yeah, good
night.
Good lad, Simmy.
Good lad. You deserve it. You deserve it. Dooch, you were watching remotely on the newly fitted YouTube footage that the club has. What were your observations from it?
Well, I think like everybody else, when we're 13 for 3, I wasn't exactly brimming with confidence.
No.
But like the lads have said, scoring runs wasn't a problem for us. We were well up with the rate all along. long. And when you are up with it, that takes a massive chunk of pressure off. Like you said earlier, if we could just keep in the hutch, then it's going to be close. Some of Simmy's shots, even on the screen, were a joy to watch. The 6 for the to the park end towards the back end of his innings off Rhys Davis was brilliant. And then, unlike Joe, when Simmy was out, I didn't have a doubt that we weren't going to win that game. Having watched the way that Blaise had played up until that point, I just thought, well, he'll get these on his own. And I actually thought when they bowled the 48th over from the park, I was thinking to myself, right, this will be the over that they try and make a massive dent in this 22. Because Bowden's going to bowl the next over from the clubhouse. They won't want to be chasing much more than a couple in the last over. So this will be the over they target. And I didn't expect it to go quite as well as it did. But it was wonderful to watch. Echo what you said about the game itself being probably one of the best in recent times, excluding cup finals and things. Paul Hargreaves has written a very good article on the website for those who haven't seen it. It would be well worth checking that out. But all in all, a fantastic day. And well done, Simmy, again.
Yeah, superb, Simmy. Wonderful.
Yeah, we're brilliant. Yeah, and I think a little mention needs to go to, I don't know what you two players think. The crowd, there was a lot of people on there.
Oh, yeah.
And I know it's a big garden party and people, there's some dads, lads, brothers, etc. that come on that are watching the cricket. But now the wives are coming on and girlfriends and kids, and it's a really, really good atmosphere. And there is no way that anyone could have left there thinking, crikey, that weren't worth £4 or that weren't worth me making myself a member to go down and watch some more of that. So thanks very much to all the spectators and the support that was given on the day. It was monumental. It was a fantastic day. So we move on to Sunday. Prestwich at home. They're not doing fantastically well in the Greater Manchester League, but it was, again, Jack, I know you weren't playing in this, but Joe, again, the wicket looked great early on. It was really quite warm when you started. The sun were baking, the track looked nice and hard, and they set off like house on fire. What was your thoughts about the way that game started and how was the build up to it?
I don't know if you want my thoughts on this competition.
No, just the game, thanks.
Just the game. Well, it's all moulded into one. So it's always important to represent the club well to me, because you're always playing for the club, so you want to make sure you give a good showing. And Prestwich are a good team and a good league, so never one can't underestimate the opponents. They did set off very, very well. You're in a power play. I think we were unlucky in places, but they also managed to get their hands through a few things. We're playing very low down on the square, so anything that went past the infield typically was going for 4. And I think they were probably 45 for 1 off 5 overs.
Yeah, it might have been less than that. Yeah.
And then we just started taking wickets, and it was a polar opposite to Saturday. We caught all our catches and good catches as well. And I think it shows in the wicket in that it was a good, hard, fast wicket with plenty of carry in it, because the majority of the dismissals in the first part were in the slips. So that was a good thing. And also must also mention the fact that I think possibly the catalyst for the display was Ben took a fantastic catch at square leg to get rid of their full length diving catch. So I think we then started to exert quite a lot of pressure on them. So I think that was a good thing. And then we battered. Hawkeye bowled extremely well, and Ruan did too. I think Paddy got a wicket at the end, as a couple of wickets in the end too. So that was great. And then batting wise, it was great to see the pro go out and bat well, get 40 odd not out, and finish the game relatively quickly. I think it was the whole game was like 34 overs.
Yeah, it was done and dusted before 4:30, and as you said, Hawkeye bowled very well in those conditions.
All games should be that long, Jez.
It was outstanding catching. There was some properly good slip catching. very sharp. Like I said, they're a bit of pace that were coming through. So, so well done. And we're through to the next round at Great Eccleston, I believe.
Way.
You're looking forward to that, Joe?
Always.
Yeah, good.
Always.
That's good. Representing the club. So we'll just briefly go through. Dooch, anything you want to add around the Lancashire Cup? No, just a great win.
Yeah.
So we'll just have a quick look. We played 6. We're top of the league. Joe Martin. Is that?
Yeah.
I don't think it's a surprise. I think we deserve that.
We've played some really good cricket, and I think we can't afford to get complacent at all. We've got to make sure we do things properly, because there's lots of good teams in this division, and we're playing a really good team at the weekend in Littleborough. They have some really good players. And
they've had a great start as well.
And they've had a great start. I've never played at Littleborough. I don't think I've ever been for that matter. So
great tea.
Wonderful. That's what we're about to make. Will you be enjoying them, Simmy, or not?
Oh, definitely.
Wonderful. Grand.
Oh, you think you've been picked here?
I'm going over what I want.
Okay.
So we've got to make sure. I think that we keep doing things well. And the other thing I should note on the game at the weekend, Jez, and it links into the rest of the season, is that it's always fantastic when people who aren't always the typical run scorers win you games. So, Ben wins us lots of games with his batting. The Pro does. Henry got 80 odd the other week. Fantastic when they score runs. But when other people chip in, that's also a sign of a good team too. So that was really good. Yeah. And hopefully we have more of those kind of contributions throughout the season, which will be fantastic. And that's all you can do really. If we continue to bat well, don't just kind of go through the motions in games, keep working hard at training, I think we'll keep competing, and I think that will be a really good thing.
Yeah, no, there is a good squad there. You look at the few changes over the last couple of years. We've got this overseas pro now. Stephen Parry's, he's available and will play out games. Frankie is available. We know Frankie does his coaching on the Saturday, so that's difficult for him. But we have a good squad there now. And it's not 12, 13, 14 players. With 15, 16 players that will all contribute now. We know that Simmy can do it, and he has to kick on. This is a real big year, Simmy. This year and next year, that you kick on and believe that you can do it, and what you've done is not just a one-off. It's not a fluke, because it's happened so many times that people get that 150 and then don't get any more. So you've got to kick on from that. And you're right, Joe. It's it's getting those batters in there. I know you're involved getting the players together and looking at selection. Do you agree with that? Or do you think we've weakened a little bit?
No, I agree with that. It's just interesting what you said there about players who score 150 and then fall off the edge of the cliff. I thought Gav was joining us.
He was going to do, but he'd heard that someone were going to bring up that he's had 150 and then fell off end of a cliff, so he decided not to come on.
Okay.
It's interesting, Simmer. Our strength in depth has increased, I feel, because the youngsters are getting 12 months older. There are more opportunities because of, the likes of Les, Charlie, Stephen Parry, Frankie, people maybe not being at Joe Hawke, whether it's through a bit of fitness or other commitments not being available. I think there's some opportunities there, but bring it on. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, and Tom Walker going as well. That's created a shot. I should probably mention that, actually. Just for anybody who doesn't know, I'm sure you all do know, but he's got a job in Australia and he's gone back to Australia permanently. So that created another little gap. So yeah, there are opportunities this year, definitely. Yeah,
and he will be a loss, won't he, Tom? Crikey, what a great cricketer. But that's where Simmy and the others that we mentioned have got to step in and step up. Anything else about this year? Joe Martin around the first team, top of the league at the moment. I don't intend to go into each individual games. There's been some good games. There's been a lot of poor weather for that first 3 or 4 games, but we managed to avoid no results. Was that a bit of fluke, or was that good management and good ground staff?
It was. So I think first and foremost, it is credit to Stan, Waddo and Roger. Magnificent work on the ground, getting them as fit as they can be in those circumstances. And I think, I've played on worse, played on wetter than I have this year. So I think if you want to play cricket here, you can't expect to have wickets in the weather that we've had for the past couple of weeks. You've just got to try and get on with it and play on the best wicket you can on that day. It's not a case of you're going to be playing on 250 wickets every week.
Yeah.
I mean, scoring runs. I don't mean the quantity of wickets.
Yeah, you just got to get on with it.
Get on with it, and let's see what happens. And I think that's that. And we've played well. But there's a long way to go in the season, and we've just got to make sure that we do the simple things well and stay in games for long periods of time. I think we'll be
good speech. So, how many 50s have you had, Joe Dooch?
I've had 2 in the league.
Yeah.
1 in the T20 and 1 in the Colne Floodlit T20.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
So I don't really count that one though.
2020.
I'll have the T20 one. So I've 3 senior.
Yeah, good lad. You've got a few, haven't you, Joe Martin? 4, 5?
9?
More than that. And 100.
9. Yeah, I know he's got 100. So there you go, Simmy. You've got to go and catch these lads up.
What about you, Jez? How many have you got?
2. 1864.
Against all rotten stallions.
No, 250s. Got to make up, but anyway, so at least we're not in that one group. Oh yeah, forgot about that. Yeah. And they've all done wrong. So anything else that we want to add before we wind up this? Thanks for helping out with the draw, you lot. I will make sure that gets sent off in the next few days. Simmy, we'll go to you first, just as a bit of a roundup. Again, congratulations. I know it's we keep going on about it, but it is a real achievement what you've done, and hopefully it will continue to sink in and for such a great win. Anything you want to add before we close this down?
Nothing in particular, no.
No. Well played, lad. Well done. Gooch.
Nope. Looking forward to this weekend's games. 3 games.
Yeah. T20 starts Friday.
DJ gear ready for Friday night.
Yes. Let's highlight that.
DJing, let's not talk about our Lord and Saviour like that. So we've got a T20 this weekend, Friday. We're at home against Rishton, and you're DJing, Joe. What's happened to the battle with Matt? I thought Matt was taking over this year.
Nah, by popular demand, me.
Right.
Semi-professional DJ.
Club's been inundated with requests for me to do it over Matt, so I'm doing it.
Open air.
Yeah, I believe so. He's have you got a new DJ name this year?
No.
DJ Dooch.
That'll do. Matt Stannings calls me something much more derogatory, which I won't repeat.
So get yourself down there. Start at 6 o'clock. The weather is set fair. There will be food on. The bar will be open. Be great cricket, great sounds from DJ Dooch, and Joe Martin will be so looking forward to playing in a T20. Right, Joe, you can. Joe Martin, any last comments before we wrap it up?
Just looking forward to playing 3 games again, and always look forward to Dooch's DJing. Congratulations to Simmy and to Blaise. Wonderful display this weekend, and hopefully we can play well again this weekend and get another win on the board, and keep going as we are doing, but not get complacent.
Brilliant. Good summing up that, Joe. Thanks everyone for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and like and tell your mates about the podcast, and get down the cricket club whilst this weather's as good as it is. Support the lads and have a few pints and a bit of food.
Gordon, send Morehouse to save the house.